wanted to talk about bindings today, and I talk about bent metal bindings, transfers specifically. These are my transfers that I have on this Jamie here. And here's the deal, man. Like, again, I've been riding snowboards for a long time, and when bent metal bindings came out, they were literally bent metal bindings. Like, at that time, just early snowboarding, everybody just wanted to have shit that didn't break, you know. And it's not like a lot of stuff was breaking, but at the time, failure in plastic and technology at the time was just, you know, you kind of a little bit all over the map. But anyway, so I'd been riding pretty stiff bindings. I rode those bent metals, and then I got into a couple sets of those Drake bindings. And there's a Mikey LeBlanc that I was riding, and it was softer. It has some flex versus a bent metal, but the early bent metal, I mean, pretty stiff. And then after those, I got back into a bent metal binding that was like a real heavy duty base plate. I think they were called the Venoms, and the bent metal Venoms, and some metal, some not metal, but like metal term. Anyway, and those also had a real stiff base plate, real stiff high backs, and the whole deal. And that's kind of just all I was riding those. And then bent metal started making bindings again. I think it was 2016, 17, maybe. I can't remember what the date is, but I remember getting a set. I was at Mount Baker for the LBS, and I put them on I don't remember what I put them on. This is my memory. But I remember the very first run down, every time I'd go to a toe side edge, I would just bury my toes. I would just bury the toe side edge in the snow, just like getting all this energy. And I didn't quite understand what was going on, but I was like, fuck, these suck. Was not into them, and went back to my other bindings that day and for the next day or two. And I took them home with me, and I don't really pay attention a lot, you know. I just kind of pay attention to what's available to me, you know. And I don't shop, and I don't, you know, I'm not a tech guy. I'm just like, well, shit, these are my friends. They make that shit. It's free to me. Cool. These guys make the shit. Free to me. Cool. At any rate, and then everybody had a hard on about those now bindings, you know, like, oh, fuck, now bindings are so rad, and they do this and that and the other thing. And I'm not taking anything away from now bindings, because what they did is that it's that pivot point and then the bushings on the heel and toe. And what that does is, you would think that it's taking away from your ability to control edges, but actually just that literally half a millimeter to a millimeter pivot point from your heels to your toes amplifies the amount of pressure and angle that you can get on your edges, and you can just generate more power into those edges that way. And I didn't totally understand that, because I never tried ride bindings or now bindings. I wrote some ride bindings too. Those are not bad. They had built-in cants in them, and I'm not a can transfer base plate. This is a 6, and I run around with a set of these guys. And this is a drive plate for the Solution, and it's an 8. And I'm telling you, this is quite a bit stiffer, and this is for a transfer, quite a bit stiffer than this one. And like I said, you got to be pretty sensitive. But after a day of riding on firm stuff, and I like stiffer plates on a little bit wider boards, you notice a difference. Anyway, thought I'd cover that so you'd know what that pivot point did. And that, I think, in my humble opinion, I think that pivot zone, like what now did, kind of revolutionized everybody's like take on snowboard bindings, because everybody was doing, you know, kind of a stiff binding, and just that give, or that flexibility, or that whatever that, you know, whatever that amplifying that edge power did, changed it all. So, and that was around for a little while, and everybody, like I said, everybody was fucking amping about it. And I never tried them, because I didn't know anybody that knows, or now. Anyway, so I got saying earlier, got this first set of transfers, and I was like, fuck, man, these are like, I don't even know what's going on, just bearing that toe side and you know, whatever, and that getting this these transfer bindings, and after I kind of understood what was going on there and how to work that flexibility into my riding versus working against it. How you doing, man? Right on. That flexibility then not only does it amplify your ability to generate power into your edges, it also acts like a little bit of a shock absorber, right? Like, you know, boots and like Vans and Ultra Cush and the V3, all this shit's all designed to absorb all of this energy, particularly on your heel side edge. Well, your toe side edge, you're looking for board feel, but if you have play in the heel, some flexibility in the heel, then it takes some of that chatter out of your foot. And one of the ways that bent metals, the transfer binding specifically, is able to achieve that flexibility is using those mini discs, man. The disc is shit. It's got to only be like 4 inches in diameter, maybe. And I'll show you pictures of the structure of the binding without the drive plate in it, and you'll see how the binding is designed to flex. Now, here's a departure, in my humble opinion, from the now bindings and basically a lot of bindings, in my humble opinion, is one of the things that the transfer binding does is that flex that you get in 4 and a half, you know, heel toe. It also provides just an unreal amount of flexible longitudinally, laterally, you know, from pronation to supination in terms of your ankle. That's a unique thing. Like, get this guy out here. This is a transfer. Same setup. And this is quite a bit looser. It pulls off the board, especially angle. And that shit right there makes a huge difference. Like, again, this has a micro disc. This is the way I like, oops. That's the way I like running them. There's these transfers that what that ultra flexibility does, and listen, I was a hard binding guy. Like, I was like, these aren't gonna work. Right now, in my humble opinion, transfer binding is like the best thing that's happened to snowboarding ever. And I even include mag traction and all technology in that argument. Like, the fluidity and your ability to you know, change the angles of energy input into the board, like, you know, knee placement and, you know, whatever, you need to cowboy out or whatever, you just have more play. And what that does, it has that flexibility and that binding translate into binding comfort. There's no pressure points, man. There's like where you would be like maybe tucking your knee, Craig Kelly style, like, you know, maybe a little knock-kneed style, and you'd be generating pressure points in an old stuff binding on the binding strap. These, because they flex at the base, you're always getting like an even strap distribution of security. Like, it's, I don't know how to put that into words, but there's just no pressure points. And I kid you not, like year 2, like I got used to them, like year 2, I hatched the term exo moccasin. Like, they're the most comfortable bindings, and their ability to generate power and the ability to absorb vibration on your toe side edge, man, they're just like the best fucking thing ever, like ever.